This is Mo,
And this is Aryeh,
and you're listening to
the Relatable Podcast. Let's do it.
Shalom Aleichem. How are you? Eitiel
Shalom
Goldwicht.
Aleichem,
So
Rebbe.
excited
So
to
nice
be
to have
here.
you.
Wow,
Great.
wow.
Oh my
Thank you.
gosh.
This is so relatable. I love it.
Nice.
I love it.
I love that. Okay, let's hop right into it.
Let's do it. Okay, so we just want to jump right into this.
Yes.
Give us a little background, where you're from, how do you get involved within this wonderful organization?
Okay, so we're here at Aisha Torah.
Oh yeah.
Opposite the holiest place in the world. And the truth is, my background is I grew up here in Israel, in Yerushalayim. My father was born in Yerushalayim. My grandfather was born here in the Old City. And when I was 8, it was the first time we moved to New York. It's the first time I spoke English. Grew up in Washington Heights. My father's a yeshiva in YU. And then after I got married, I went through the regular yeshiva route. I got married. I was learning here in Kollel and the Mir. And then I was looking like, where am I going to learn halacha, but in a place that's going to help me grow so that I could be a mashpia. Because that's the type of chinuch I got.
You want
And
to give over?
I wanted to give over. I wanted to learn for myself, to be, to be a Jew, first and foremost, before even being a teacher and an educator. But I was looking for different opportunities where maybe I could become someone who could also influence others as well. And I went to different yeshivas and different kollelim, and it was all really nice. But then when I came here to Aish, something was different. We were building here a very strong halachic kollel from guys from the Mir. But we sat with Rav Noach Weinberg, and it was a different energy. His first question was like, "What are you guys doing for the Jewish people?" Like he was like right on mission. Like you got to take responsibility for the Jewish people. So
Crazy. Aish wasn't even anything large at that time.
Yeah, I mean, Aish is a 50-year-old organization,
Right.
but it wasn't as global then.
Right.
It wasn't as exposed in the modern Orthodox world or in the yeshivish world. It was more like in the
its
old
place at the
school,
time.
like Baal Tshuva place. And at the time, the vision at the time of Rav Noach Weinberg is like, let's bring in what they called back in the day. I don't know if that lexicon is still used. They called it FFBs, from birth guys.
Nice.
And so they brought us a group of FFBs from the Mir to start a kollel in Aish. And the concept was, you guys already been learning. Come learn, become rabbis, but also get like this hashkafa of like changing Am Yisrael. And it had a strong effect on me.
Was that something that was nature or nurture to you?
So I knew that I wanted to go into like chinuch and be mashpia, but it probably would have been Shana Aleph Rebbe here in one of the yeshivas, which is, I still have like a dream to be that. It's,
Yeah. Right.
It's like
We'll
the
get
best.
there.
That's the best. Or like, a rabbinate, which, I did that also, and I'm a part of that as well. But to think of Jewish education on a global level was not really I've never heard anyone speak that way. Like, we're not here to educate the next generation of religious students. Those are also very important, and we got to do that, and we have to think of ways to do it. But we're here to bring Jewish education to the entire Jewish world, where 90% of them are not interested. How do we get to them? That was like the charge that he gave us as young kollel guys. And I was like, wow, who's thinking this way? Wow. It was revolutionary for me in that way.
There's not so much of a cross-read between, like you were mentioning before, depending on which sect you're in. So let's say with the more mainstream sect, it's very focused on, like you just mentioned previously, how do we boost up the education of people who are already knowledgeable, get that knowledge deeper?
Yeah.
There's not so much that focus, like you're mentioning, of people who are unaffiliated to bring them closer, more educated.
That's right. Because we want to educate people who want to be educated.
Right.
It's the hardest for
Yeah.
teachers to be in a classroom where the kids don't want to learn. But that's part of what education is. And as a parent,
patience.
sometimes the kids don't want it, but that's part of what education is. And when we start viewing ourselves as a nation with a mission, and in order to accomplish that mission, and this is really what we need to understand, in order to accomplish our nation's mission, we need every Jew. It's not just we need the religious Jews, the yeshivish Jews, the Hasidic Jews, the modern Orthodox Jews. We need every Jew. Everyone is part of it, and everyone has what to add. And even though they may not feel it yet or they may not know it, we have a little bit of the responsibility because we did have more of that upbringing. So if we know what Judaism really is about, are we able to articulate it to the whole entire world?
I love that. What was Rabbi Noach Weinberger's strategy for really reaching out to everybody?
His main strategy was every Jew needs to be involved. in his day, he called it waking the sleeping giant. The sleeping giant are the religious Jews. The religious Jews were sleeping.
Meaning what?
Meaning, it was, and growing up, like we were like that, and until today, there's a certain aspect of that is we're very focused on our Jewish growth and becoming better people and midos and learning and Torah and all of that,
God, right?
Connection with God, everything, but it ended up staying insular in our community.
It was your own journey.
It was our own journey. It was our own communities, our own shuls, and our own yeshivas.
Do you think that
what
was a
about the rest
defense?
of the world?
Nice.
How many frum Jews are there in the world?
Not many comparative.
But
to
let's
the
say
men of
there's
not.
1 million.
Right.
Okay.
2 million. If everyone is able to influence one person who's not connected, we've created a total wave, a tidal wave in the Jewish world. Now, it doesn't mean that everyone is going to become religious like we are or as observant, but are they going to become more connected? If every single Jew is able to be mashpi on one person, we've shifted the entire Jewish world. And once you create that shift, once you hit that tipping point, we're ready.
Wow. Take off, baby.
I love that. Is there?
That was his big vision. It's much harder to implement.
For sure.
Much
Practically,
harder.
what did
Yeah.
that look like?
Practically is every person who walked in the door, and I'm speaking to you and to our listeners, every single person who wants to build a stronger relationship with Hashem, with God, needs to think part of my stronger relationship with my Creator is that I'm looking out for one of his kids to build them to have a stronger relationship as well. With the understanding, though, that their relationship is going to be different than my relationship.
Yeah.
When we understand both of those
Individuality.
things, and just like me and my siblings are a little bit different, I'm sure you're somewhat different from your siblings, but you have a relationship with your father and he's got a relationship with his dad, and like he's one way and I'm another way. That's okay. But it's important to me that all of the kids in our family, we could sit around one table, even though we're different from one another. Because so that's the same thing with the Jewish people.
Wow, it's gorgeous. Every institution, I would say, although I don't love using that word, has a certain mantra or goal that they are trying to accomplish. Is there something more tangible that you say that is a success? A person walks in and walks out something else or more tapped in. What does that look like to be called a success in each?
So the truth is that you're right. Every organization has this, like, what's a success? I'm a little bit against that.
Nice.
I love that.
Because our job, no other person is my success. Each person is on their journey and what they want. My success is, am I able to see other people for who they are? Am I able to communicate with other people what I think is important for who they are? What their journey is their journey. And when we respect that and we're able to facilitate, we're able to show that the ancient Jewish wisdom that is given to us by HaKadosh Baruch Hu at Har Sinai and has been following the Jewish people for 3,000 years, that it's relatable, relevant to today, to our businesses, to our marriages, to our day-to-day struggles. If I'm able to articulate that and people are saying, that was inspiring, or I never thought about it that way, for me, that's our success. That more and more people are starting to be engaged in that wisdom and that awareness, and there's a perception change that happens. What happens on their journey is not my success.
It's beautiful. You mentioned that it could also be relatable to business. I'm just curious, Mo over here runs a very successful business as well. Still
Nice,
plug over
nice.
there. What does that look like? How does ancient Jewish wisdom apply in 2025 to a businessman such as Mo?
So I think in a certain way, that's like our next chapter in Jewish history, and it's our next chapter in our, I would say, hashpa, influence on the entire Jewish world. Actually, I've been now in Isha Torah for over 18 years, and I just started a new Israeli organization called Value, VLU, based out of Tel Aviv.
Big plug, everybody. Check it out.
Yeah, that's right, VLU.
Check it out.
And the point of it is, because what's driving Israel's economy and society forward is the high-tech world, is the business. Yeah. And in a certain way, that's our real hashpa, global hashpa.
When you say hashpa, what does that exactly mean?
Our global influence is actually through the industry and the businesses that come out of Israel.
Right.
That's like the tangible way how we
There's
interact
Waze.
with the world. There's
What
Waze,
else?
there's Lemonade, and there's Monday.com, there's Wix, and there is everything. We like to highlight Waze. That's already old school.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
like Intel has their companies over here, and Mobileye, and Apple, Facebook, Meta, everything. They all have huge offices here and the influence is all around the world. Now, does that mean that we're running it? We're not running the world, but we're involved in the new development of creation. But that whole sector, are they connected to the Jewish wisdom and to the Jewish values? Is our influence on the world just going to be like, on one way, it's very religious, and our values and our rabbis, and we have global influence in that way. And then there's a business world that has global influence in a different way. Are they not connected? Wow. Are they two totally separate worlds, and one is more secular and one is more religious, or can we combine them? And I believe that when we combine them, that is really how we are mashpia, God's name, on the whole entire world.
Wow.
Is that the mission of value?
In a certain way, that's the mission of value. So what we're starting on a practical level is training young managers that are in high-tech companies and across the Israeli ecosystem. We created this advanced management course that's based on Jewish wisdom. The Jews have always been successful. What are the secrets? What are the tips? How do you do it? So we have 10 meetings. We bring in Israeli CEOs. I bring in Jewish techs. We're learning it. We have management coaches, and then they know how to lead, how to build diverse teams, and how to manage them, and how to build trust, and how to be a level 5 leader. All of those things, and they're learning it from Judaism, and it's something that is changing their perception about that Jewish wisdom is actually relevant to me. And my success in my business is not something that is contrary to my success as a Jew. And one of the mindset shifts that we want them, your success in business is actually a spiritual thing. In Judaism, we talk a lot, Jewish wisdom has a lot about, business ethics.
Yeah.
You got to be honest, how you do it, how you run your business. What about
interest and taxes?
All of those things.
Yeah.
And you need to have that. But what is the initial mindset about business? Should we be creating major money-making businesses? Should we building huge companies, or should I have my own little shop? We grew up on the story, on like the stories of like my own little shop, right?
And when you made enough money, closed it for the day,
right?
Yeah.
And there are values in that, and we have to understand that the value that story gives over is that we're not chasing money, right? We're not chasing money, but what are we chasing?
Something much more than that.
We're chasing impact. If you can provide a service that millions of people are willing to pay money, and they're saying this service is actually helping my life, and we're willing to pay money for it, and you became a multimillionaire from it, you just touched so many human beings, and with your ingenuity, your God-given gifts, made the world a better place. Most of the startups in Israel are providing amazing services for the world.
Genuine value.
We don't want car crashes anymore, right? So what do? Let's come up with cameras around the cars. Let's create Mobileye, and let's help people get to their destination quicker and save time in a safer way. And we're all going to do it by working together. Amazing. And the world says, I want that. I want the car to be self-driving so that I could be learning on my way to work or doing other things. And everyone is buying it. And it's a multi-billion-dollar company. That is making the world a better place. That shows that making money, when it's done in the right way, and for that you need the Jewish values, it's able to transform the world, and that is really our mission to the whole entire world. It's something that I'm still developing, but I'm really excited about it.
I see the passion, big time.
Yeah, I love this.
That's great.
There's a Rashi at the end of Vizos Bracha where Moshe is giving a bracha to Yisachar and Zvulun, and he says, Smach Zvulun betzeisecha. Zvulun, you should be happy that you're going out to do business, right? Because Zvulun is the one, it's the boats, he goes out to do business in the world. V'Yisachar be'alacha, and Yisachar in your tents of learning Torah. That's the partnership between Yisachar and Zvulun. And there's a Rashi all the way at the end, after he speaks about the Chilazon, he says that Zvulun should be happy when he goes out to do business, because when he does business, the nations of the world are going to come to Israel to do business with the coastline of Zvulun. All the startup companies are there by Herzliya. That was like Zvulun's, right? That was Zvulun's like territory. Come do business with high tech. When they come in and they see how the Jewish people does business with ethics, with values, they're not letting the shefa, the plenty of their success ruin their families and ruin the economy and the society, and morality goes down. Because many nations, when they're so successful, morality goes down.
Sure.
So we're not letting that happen, and we're doing business the right way, and we're connected to our Jewish values. Even if not everyone is religious, but we understand that we're running Jewish businesses. You know what the nations of the world are going to say? Rashi says they're going to be so blown away. They're going to be like, what's the center of these people? And they're going to make their trip to where? To here, to Yerushalayim. And then they're going to meet people who are more Issachar, who are more learning and dedicated to spirituality. And you're going to be like, this is amazing. Wow. You guys have one God. You guys eat kosher food. And they're going to right away be more connected to Hashem. And that's really our ultimate vision that we pray on Rosh Hashanah. V'haya Hashem lamelech al kol haaretz. Everybody. How is that going to happen? B'derech hateva. Of course, there's going to be miracles and Hashem and Mashiach. But what are the steps that we do in the next 20, 25 years of Am Yisrael? What should the state of Israel be focused on, and the global Jewish world be focused on in the next 25 years when the state of Israel hits 100? What should be our impact on the world?
Wow.
I don't know, but if we could tie like the business world and the Torah and the values, and that's really how the whole world does business with us, and they're connecting to the values that Hashem gave us at Har Sinai, I think that's Meloch al kol olam kulo bichvodecha.
It's beauty. It's beauty.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
There's so much.
Yeah. So much.
How do you have this? Similar to what Mo was asking before, it's such a mind shift. You know, I'm over here worrying about my own self-growth, development, the podcast, my friends, my social circle. Is that something that we could develop? That like broader aspect of the entire Jewish people, the entire world at large.
Yeah,
something that could be worked on.
So this is a relatable podcast, so it has to be very, very much relatable.
Yeah.
When you start, you gotta be working on yourself. And you gotta be becoming the best version of yourself. And when you're growing on yourself and becoming the best version of yourself, which is thinking about other people and your immediate environment, first of all, that attracts positivity to you. It attracts people to your business. It attracts the right shidduch. It attracts the right friends. And then you're surrounding yourself with other people who are growth oriented and want to do positive influence around their immediate surroundings. And then as life moves on and you're with the right chavra, and with the right family and the right home, and you start building yourself out, that's when you start thinking a little bit bigger than that. You can't skip steps. You want a ladder that is grounded on the ground and goes all the way up to Shamayim.
What's that ground? That's what I'm asking. What's that ground?
The ground is yourself.
Right.
The ground is always yourself. Am I growth oriented? Am I real? Do I really have a relationship with Hashem? None of us are perfect. We all have ways to go. And you could be a big Rosh Hashiva and you're also not perfect and you have ways to go. And we know that. And as long as we know that, but it starts here, and what's the good that I want to impact on the world? And who are the people that I surround myself with? You know, if you're surrounded by 5 people who are growth oriented, you're going to be a little bit more growth oriented. If you're surrounded by 5 people who are smart, who read like a little bit on the side, you're going to end up becoming smarter. If you surround yourself with 5 cynical people, you're going to end up becoming more cynical. If you surround yourself with people who do stupid things, you're going to end up doing stupid things. Right. Like, tell me who your inner circle is.
Right.
And I'll show you who you are and where you're heading. And where you're heading.
Right.
So you want to make it practical. It doesn't start by... I didn't start, and this is the first time I'm sharing this thought about like the global
we're getting a little
business
unique
world.
over here.
Yes, it's because I'm still developing it.
For sure.
But I'm starting to envision, and the reason why I'm sharing it is because I want people to. I'm sure I have so much to learn from other people and what they have to say about these topics as well. So hopefully they're listening to this podcast. But for anyone who is like, oh my goodness, this guy's talking way too big in there.
Right.
It starts with ourselves, with our inner circle, with our growth, with the people we build around ourselves. And then you'll see it's going to attract better business, better customers. You're going to build it. It'll be with more trust. You'll find the right shidduch to build your home with, and that will attract the right community. But never stop thinking about the big picture. It's not just about developing yourself. Because if you're developing yourself and your business and you're looking at it as the search for money, that's for yourself. Yeah. If you're looking at it as the quest for hashpa, for influence, so then you're looking outward, you become a channel of shefa, of plenty. And that's really why we have the mitzvah of tzedakah. It's like, what are you doing with the money? What are you doing? Are you trying to, 2 people could be doing the same exact thing, but like it's totally different. You know, sometimes you might need some help. You're like, guys, I need some help with this. And you'll have 2 friends coming up to you and offering you help. But one guy, you feel like he's got an agenda here.
Yeah.
What's up his sleeve?
He wants something back from me. And another guy is like a genuine friend who's like, dude, I'm here for you. Like, I'm here to help you out. Who do you want to do business with? And who do you want to So what is our mindset? Are we always with an agenda? What's good for me, my business, my money? Yeah. Do we want to be that guy? Or are we here for we're here for shefa. Yeah. We're here for plenty. And then it'll come around. Because you become a channel. You become like
a conduit.
A conduit because you're giving. If you're if you're a type of person who's holding everything inside to yourself, so then it's like it gets stuck. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, he's got
filled up.
And that's right. He's filled out. He's got enough. He doesn't need me anymore.
Rabbi, have you ever read the book The Go-Giver?
Nope.
You really gotta check it out. Number one, fantastic book. I read it like 10 times. But yeah, its biggest stress of the entire book is that you got to give without expecting something back.
That's right.
It's got to be real.
That's right. And I think that's what you guys are doing on this podcast. You're why are you doing it? We want to give to our viewers. We want to give to Israel, and in general, anyone who spends their time and their mindset, how could I give? What value can I give to other people? They're just going to grow.
Wow. How do you balance between simultaneously building yourself while also giving? Your role, our role, anybody who's an influencer. How do you hold both of those cups?
So anyone who wants to grow, how does a CEO grow?
Right.
And how does a Rashiva grow while he's giving?
Mm-hmm.
The secret, and it's a basic Jewish secret, but it's also you got to have a very set, clear morning routine, right? If you read about any successful people, they got their morning routine down pat, and you got to have set time for your own personal growth. And it's you don't need a 5 a.m. book club book or a CEO short on TikTok
meditation
to teach you that. In Judaism, we got this. You wake up, there's a time that you have to daven by. You wake up, you say thank you. You have a list of brachos that you're saying thank you and gratitude. We have a built-in gratitude journal into our morning routine. And then prayer is meditative. You're not supposed to be talking to other people before you pray. You're not supposed to be looking at your phone before you get up, because then you're just getting the input of the world. You're like, well, who are you and what do you want to do? If you have a very clear first hour of the day that you know what you're doing and it's built in, and you set yourself up for success. You got your alarm clock, but not your phone. You got your shoes ready, maybe even if you want to work out or stretch before Shachris, that's also okay. But you're in a mode where my first hour is covered of me just intaking the world, but not technology. What do I want and who am I? And where you got to have the first solid morning routine, and then you need to have what we call kvias itim laTorah,
which means
a set time for your personal growth and learning. You have to built in. There's a book, because we use this in our advanced management. It's called the 7 Habits of highly successful, people, highly effective, successful, influential people. Stephen Covey. So he speaks about sharpening your saw. Mm-hmm. So what's his big chiddush? You got to have a set time in your day, right? A guy is walking on the street, guy's walking in the forest, and he sees this guy cutting down a tree. And he tells him, you should really take a break for an hour to sharpen your saw, and then it'll be much easier. He's like, are you crazy? I don't have time to sharpen my saw. I gotta cut this. I gotta keep on going. But he doesn't understand that if you stop from cutting the tree and you sharpen your saw, you'll be able to do way. That's his mashal.
This is so relatable for me right now, because the last, let's say, month and a half, Ari and I have been grinding on the podcast, no time for ourselves, nonstop. And literally just yesterday, I took just a day off, not even a night, just took the day off to sharpen my sword. Amazing. Chill, relax, get back into the mindset, because I knew we had a big day today. And it really helped me out. Question.
In the first question that we're asked in Shemayim, says the Gemara, is, did you do business properly? The second question, which is why I think a big part of business is, the second question that we're asked is, did you set time for your personal growth and learning?
Wow.
Kavata itim laTorah. Right? Those are the two questions. And this is what we've been talking about our success with business. Is it done honestly with the right values? Number 2, am I learning? Do I have my own personal growth? Am I doing it the right way? So and that's why it's, we have a big chandelier here in Esha Torah with fire and water. Mm-hmm. It's the story of Rabbi Akiva. What made him such a giant? And becoming a giant, it could be a giant in anything. It could be a Talmud Chacham in Torah. It could be a major CEO of a major multi-billion-dollar company. What makes someone such a giant? So he quotes the story where he was walking and he sees in a cave that there's a rock with a huge hole in it. And he's like, who made this hole? And he looks up and there's drops of water. And that vision changed his life. And he decided, I'm going to learn. What did he see there? What did he see? So we always ask the students, one drop of water that falls on a rock, does it leave an impact?
No.
Nothing. 0 times a million is
Zero.
0 times a billion is
Zero.
zero. So if one drop is 0, even a billion drops will do nothing. It must mean that one drop does something, but it needs to be consistent every single day,
compound effect,
without stopping. And that's what Jewish growth is about. You don't have to become a rabbi today. You don't have to change the world today. You don't have to change yourself today. But did you give yourself those 15 minutes for your personal growth every single day?
Wow.
But don't stop. Don't say, oh, I did it yesterday. I took a full day off. It's not about a full day off. We need our full days off. That's why we have Shabbos. That's why we have just days off. But every single day I've built into my routine, my morning schedule and my kvias itim, my 15 minutes that are mine, no matter what. And usually attach it to a different habit that you do. Like before you go to sleep, those 15 minutes are always there. Nice. Or right after Shachris, you're not going anywhere for 15 minutes. You're sitting down, you're sharpening your saw. And that's really what we do. Sharpening our saw is with the chavrusa. So you have interpersonal relationship. It's something intellectual, sharpening my mind. I have to think about something spiritual. It makes me feel connected to who I am. All of those things sharpens me. You need to have personal growth in order to go anywhere in life, whether it's business, hashpa, chinuch, you got to have personal growth.
Wow. It's kind of a letdown because I was expecting this out of reach concept that you're about to tell me every single day, 5 a.m., and you're pushing back. No, 15 minutes will ultimately lead you, just like Rabbi Akiva, that drip drop.
Rabbi Akiva, on the first day when he saw that water, he went to the cheder and he said, I don't know how to read. I've been trying for 40 years to read and write. I'm ignorant. But he said, can I learn Aleph today? One thing, can I learn Aleph? He's like, you know what? I can learn Aleph. I'll figure out how to write it. I could say Aleph, Aleph, Aleph. Oh, this is great. I learned Aleph. The next day he said, I'm going to review Aleph because I just learned it. But can I learn Beis today? And he learned Beis. Okay, great. That's it. I'm done. Next day, Gimel.
Wow.
For 22 days, he was learning 22 letters of Aleph, but he never stopped.
Yeah.
And eventually, he was learning everything. And all of the Torah that we have today are Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva.
Right. Wow. Sometimes it could be really difficult, like being okay with just a little drop. Like we want to, for me personally at least, I don't want to talk for everybody listening, but for me personally, like I want to move. I want to go now. Like let's go to the moon tomorrow.
Right.
But like for me, if I'm just like, let's say I have a Shara B'tachon shir with a friend of mine, not a shir, chavrusa. And we learn like 10 minutes a day. Like that for me is like, okay, it's cute, but like I want to do more. Like I want to be okay with doing that little drop and like knowing that it's good.
The little drop is good. It's supposed to help you create bigger drops, but also there's still drops. The problem is when we're like, I want to finish the Masechta today. Mm-hmm. I want to capture it today. I want to join the 7 daf a day so I can finish Shas in a year. Right?
I got this. I'm good.
and it works for like a day or for a week, but it's just not sustainable. And that, by the way, the movement of the Daf Yomi, the genius of it and the success of it is that it's 1 daf a day. Don't do 2 daf a day. Do 1. Right? But do it every single day and don't stop. In 7.5 years, you're going to finish it. And it became a global, worldwide movement. Huge. And because of that, people, how long does it take them to do the daf? An hour, 45 minutes. They're listening to it but it's held our people together. That sharpened the saw of the businessman. He's a better family man. He's a better businessman. He's more excited about his work. He's more excited about his Judaism and his own self-growth because he has that 1 hour a day daf yomi shir.
I love it.
Wow.
That's what we got to do to grow. So important.
These things add up. Yeah, also, like you just said, I like how you brought out family man also.
Sure.
His learning for 15 minutes will affect his interpersonal relationships.
100%.
Everything intertwines.
100%. And that's really what success is. We call it, our like tagline is like meaningful success or success with meaning. Because real success, and this is so important for like the young generation, real success is not measured by dollars and cents. We got all the shorts videos of the guys walking around. Oh, you're really successful. How much money do you make? And how much money do you make? How do you make your money? That's only one aspect of their success. Do they have a good relationship with their wives? Are they good parents? Do they feel a sense of purpose? Are they building and giving back to the community and like growing their communities around them? Success is a holistic success. It's not just money. Somebody who's got a lot of money but has no relationships, no real relationships in his life is miserable. Somebody who, even if he has relationships, but he doesn't know who am I and what am I doing for? And I've interviewed major CEOs in Israel. They made an exit when they're young, And the guy is 40 years old, sold his company for $250 million, top of the world. He's like, I just sat there and I was like,
They're tripping out.
yeah, what's life all about now? Like, what's
Now
the meaning
what?
of it all? I was on such a chase for like 10 years to build this company. I sold it. I made it. But now what? Who am I? What's the purpose of it all? And then they like recalibrate, rethink. Some of them just like go back into the work. I got to work again. I got to do another one. That's what I'm here to do, just to create these companies.
It's a little bit of a distraction.
But
Sometimes.
Why
it's
do you
like,
think money has that like pull? Like we hear these stories of this guy, the CEO, in wherever he was, wherever he's from, but we hear the story of him exiting the company, $250 million, and that was his entire life goal for 30, 40 years, however old he is. Like, why was that such a pull? For me personally as well.
money is the measurable of physical success. It's not the measurable, though, of spiritual success. And as Jews, we understand that we're built of body and soul.
But we have it very clear that that's not like, even after you have the tangible amount, like it's not, you're not happy after. It doesn't make you happy. It doesn't make
Why
you
does
full.
everybody fall in the same?
That's
Yeah,
right.
why is there, exactly.
That's right. I
what I'm
highly
trying to say.
recommend you read the Michtav Melio.
Okay.
Rav Dessler, the first one, about like happiness. And he speaks about how like you meet rich people, they're not necessarily happy or living a fulfilled life. We think money has potential. It's the potential for wealth. It's the potential for buying a nice home and for having a nice car. And therefore, I have comfort. But people confuse between comfort and pleasure. And that's why they're drawn to money. There's a confusion. The world sells us comfort. If you have money, you could go on a cruise. You could go to the beach. It's going to be awesome. But what does that actually give us? It gives us comfort and not real pleasure. Real pleasure comes from work. Real pleasure actually takes pain. When you go to the gym and you work out, you're like, oh, that was awesome. When you're like learning and it's hard, or you take a test after like a whole semester and you got your degree, it's like you feel pleasure. A relationship, a marriage, it takes work raising kids, but that's what gives you the biggest joy. Kids give parents the biggest pain in the world, the biggest agmas nefesh, but it's the biggest joy in the world at the same time. Real pleasure takes work. Our body doesn't like work. It likes comfort. Yeah. So we're saying, oh, we just want the money. We want that comfort. But really, the harder we work and creating that work-life balance, that soul-body balance, that's what will give us the real pleasure in life. And that's really our life's destiny. Our life's mission is to understand that we're supposed to work, and the work has two aspects to it. The word in Hebrew for work is avodah. Avodah is avodas Hashem, avodah in the Beis HaMikdash, but it also means like to work. Lavod is labor, to work the ground. Adam Arishon, before he was kicked out of Gan Eden, was put in Gan Eden, la'avda ulashomra, to work it and to protect it. It's a constant balance between body and soul, and that's our life's mission.
Wow.
Figure out that balance.
I love this.
You guys are amazing. You guys are really amazing.
So much,
hopefully we got to a little bit of it, and maybe we'll be able to speak more in the future.
Is there a final message you want to wrap up with?
Yeah. I'm very happy with all the topics we covered. I know that you're in a rush. Just one final takeaway message. We spoke about business, about incorporating a holistic approach to both the body and soul, the importance of Jewish wisdom. What's the one takeaway message that our listeners could walk away with?
The one relevant takeaway message is, I think what we spoke about is do something small every single day to sharpen your saw. If you're able to have that kvias itim laTorah, you have your time, and each person is going to be different. For one person, you'd say, I got an hour, and I have a chavrusa, and I have a set shir, and that's my hour. Some people do it in the middle of the day as a daf yomi. Some people do it in the beginning of the day. But for some people, it might be 15 minutes, but it's set, and it's every day. Do that for 30, 40 days. Get it into your routine. You will see that it will transform your entire life.
Wow. Beauty. You're so good. That was insane.
Thank you. Wow.